Well, I hope the change of date didn't screw people up too much. The thinking behind it was it's conceivable that we'll have some second meeting of the month programs
I don't know if you can hear me,
virtual.
but I'm going to leave. I can't hear anything.
You can't hear a thing?
Come back.
Okay. Anyway, I wanted to make sure we were still the Wednesday night group. And if we started having second meetings
Joseph,
on Thursdays, we wouldn't overlap them.
Why did we switch? I don't remember.
Well, we've been Wednesday nights.
Right.
It's just that we said last time, well, let's do it the second meeting or near the second meeting of the month. But my concern is that we'll get into having some virtual programs. Of course, I'd have to get off my butt and make some or get some. Lou, Yvonne. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hagopian's coming.
hey, Bob.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. Good. What are you doing?
Ken, how's your audio going?
I gotta reset it here.
See if Ken.
Okay, is that any better?
Oh, yours is good.
Oh,
Ken's
okay.
having trouble.
Oh, okay. Mine was low.
Here's Doug Locke. All right. Somebody's got music playing.
Oh, let's see here.
Or television.
Sounds like it's you, Lou.
Yeah, that's my wife next door.
Oh,
Looking for the mute button here. Where the heck is it? Here, let's see. No, it's here somewhere.
Lower left corner.
There it is.
what are you wishing for snow, Doug?
Doesn't want to talk to you.
We had snow the other day. Did anybody else get a little
Yeah,
snow?
we had a dusting.
Yeah.
I think it was 23 this morning.
Mhm. Yeah. Ice
Supposed to be,
out there.
supposed to be good the next couple days. Have to get all my outside work done. Get the chainsaw out after the wind.
Yeah, that was some wind. Luckily, we kept our power.
I was amazed we kept our power. It blinked early in the morning and then stayed on the rest of the day, and that's not characteristic.
We lost ours and they told us it would be 4 days before we got it
Oh,
back. But it ended up just, Bob, were you out?
no, we had power the whole day. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it only ended up being out for about 12 hours. It wasn't. And
Well,
it
it's bad.
impresses me that they do what they do.
You guys are probably mostly on city water too, so we got wells. So if I lose
Oh.
electricity, I lose water.
Yeah.
Well, one of the good things is my neighbor's got all my leaves.
I had probably a semi-load of leaves in 4 or 5 piles. And luckily the guy who's supposed to do the yard work came and sucked them up just a few hours before the big windstorm. All right, we've got 11 people. Maybe you want to get started. As I mentioned earlier, apologies for the shift to Wednesday. I made kind of the quick call that we wanted to keep this Wednesday night group, leave Thursdays open if the club wants to have activities, whether it's meetups or anything else. But we can change that as time goes on. One of the things we want to talk about tonight is where do we want to go from here as a group. But I think the plan is we're going to go through all the images that have been submitted today and then go through the virtual gallery from Ron Canigliaro. I don't know if he'll be at time to join us tonight or not.
I can show that if you like.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's see. Your screen, desktop. All right.
I was really impressed by the way the exhibition shows his images.
I'm trying to manipulate this screen up here.
I go to the menu.
Yeah, well, this has changed with Big Sur.
Aha.
Yeah, which, all right, we'll just deal with it.
Otherwise, I can do it.
So I stepped in late. What is this?
Well, Ron Canigliaro sent an access code to his virtual art gallery. And it's got a whole lot of his street people and street photography scenes. And it's pretty well done.
I'll show you. You can see it on the screen here. Well, if I can get rid of this thing, I can't seem to move it. Hide it. Okay, there, I hit it. I have no idea how you pronounce this. Construmatus Matrix. Anyhow, it's a company that allows you to create a virtual 3D exhibition with your pictures. And Ron has done this already, and this is what it looks like. These are all Ron's pictures. And it looks like it's in a virtual gallery, which you can control with your cursor, moving around the room.
You can also have a tour.
You can have a tour. You can pick the gallery, the way the gallery looks. There are dozens of different galleries. You pick one whose style you think is going to work for your images. And then you arrange your pictures on the screen here. And if you want to walk up to one of the pictures, you can actually take a look at it.
Reminds me of Sims.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. And Ron did a great job with a selection of the gallery, and these images are just beautiful.
Oh, you have your own museum.
Yes, that's exactly right, your own gallery. And there's, I guess, let me go back to this.
I was going to say, you can click on presentation. It'll take you to one right after the other in full screen.
Yeah, there's all kinds of options here for the styling of the exhibition space where you're going to place your pictures. Once you have a gallery set up, and then there's a listing of all the people that have galleries, so you can browse through these. There is 4 ways you can do this. There's a free version, which looks like you can set up 10 artworks, but I don't think you become part of the public exhibition program. You probably just have a link so that you can get back to it. You can probably send it out to other people that they can take a look at. I'm going to play around with it and just see what happens. There's a $12 a month, $30 a month, $50 a month, and with all these extra different options. But it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, some of his images are really quite nice. I think if you go up to the pancake in the upper right corner, under menu, down below. Yeah, there you go. You can, let's see. Oh, go to the one to the left, under login. I think that'll take you to the, no, up and over. There. Now I think you can start a tour, or you can go one at a time, full screen.
Bob, are you recording this?
Yes,
You are, okay, good.
I said I was, anyway.
Well, I missed
Yeah,
that.
it says stop recording, so
Yeah, there's a red light.
Okay, good.
but these are just incredible shots he's taken on all of his world tours.
It tells you here the artist and the name of the image up in the corner. That's the only information it seems to give you, but it's really well done. So if you're interested, that's the name of the website. Take a look at it. I'll put that away. Go to Bridge. Okay, Ann.
That's interesting.
What I did was I sent two different kinds of things. I sent my artography kind of things, which this is one of, and then I sent just photographs that are kind of my style, because I really don't think I have a style yet. I like taking pictures of a lot of different things, but I tend to, when it comes to the photos, not the artography part of it, I really like taking photographs that interest me with light. You know, light in the forest, light on the mountains, sunsets, sunrises, just how the light affects the landscape. That's really my passion when it comes to landscape photography. But ever since this group, I've had fun with this artography. And so that's what these, I think, next few that we're going to see are. This is, that first one was in Fagin, Italy. And that's their white cow, their famous steaks that they make from those cows. And this was in near Sedona, in a junkyard that had all these cars and things in Jerome. It was in Jerome, Arizona.
A nice composition with the
That
two
is.
trucks and nice angle.
Thank you.
You know, Ann, you mentioned style. I think one of the reasons Ron's exhibition was so successful is there's one particular style and look that he's
Yes.
going with. And I think when you do something like that, there's a huge advantage to doing that, sticking with one style. That doesn't mean that has to be the only thing you do in photography, but if you're going to do an exhibition, it helps if everything kind of ties together.
And it's,
Yeah.
and it's one type of subject matter too.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're saying for landscape, if you're going to do landscape, it would be seascapes or forests, woodlands, something like that,
Well,
mountains.
Yeah, that would work.
it has to have something that ties it all together.
Okay. All right.
Even the
thanks.
artography, I mean, if you did a dozen shots like this, I think that would be that would
Okay.
look good together.
Yeah, this was a room in Hudson
Olana?
Valley. Yes,
Oh.
Olana House,
Mhm.
that I took, and I believe I took this with my iPhone. And then, because it's not a great iPhone picture on itself, but it worked really well with the artography. And so I have a lot of different methods that I use in here to get this painterly effect.
So you were putting in textures, overlays?
Yes, and I used a oil painting action that I had purchased. Or no, I think it was free from Adobe. So I started with that, changed that all up, and then did some overlays. And then I do some cut and pasting things where I might cut out a part of a wall and then paste it in and play around with it so it looks like you put a paintbrush on it. So it's, you know, this might be, I don't know how many applications, but some of them are up to 40 different actions that I have.
Wow. You're becoming like Tom Pinar.
Oh, no, I don't think so, but,
It's beautiful, Ann.
oh, thanks.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
I can see the artist showing through here.
This was in Montepulciano, and I had to stop and take a picture of these shoe planters. And then again, threw it into Photoshop and started doing some overlays and changing colors and, or, you know, not changing colors, but modifying colors to come up with this.
It's a good look.
Thank you. And this was near Bolzano, Italy, up in the mountains. And you get off this little train stations right there when you get off the lift. And then you take this train into their nearest little town. And so I threw this again into Photoshop, and I probably took over 3 hours working with this one because there's things I had to take out of it. There was on the left by the camera, by the clock, there was a security camera. I had to take that out. And there's some other things in the picture I didn't like, I had to take out, and I used different brush technique for the sky and threw in some scratches. And so this one took me probably the longest of all the artographies that I've done so far.
I can't believe how much you've learned, Anne. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
I don't know. It's just by trial and error, and I don't know that I could ever recreate it.
That's the tough part. Yeah, I noticed I've got to either write it down or I forgot how I did it.
But you know, every picture should be something on its own, not like the last one.
I agree. Yeah.
So, you know, remembering what you did, you're remembering the techniques. That's all you really need.
Right, right. I wouldn't be able to replicate this one, though, is what I'm saying.
Well,
but I look at the picture and then decide what that picture needs. It's not
2
going to
months
be
from now, you can do it again and it'll look totally different. So,
right, right.
you know.
But the stylization is enough, is similar enough to, you know, create a look.
I like all the scratches.
Yeah, I do too. That too.
Thanks. And this was a totally different looking picture. This was in a pond or a lake in Austria. And I was taking pictures of the sailboat on the lake and things. And I saw in the water these lilies. And so I had taken this picture, and it was all kind of greenish water. And so what I did was, when we were doing last week in club, when we were doing the high key, I took this picture, which was mostly all green and had a lot of seaweed on the bottom and everything. And I made it into this kind of high key, kind of.
Well, that's certainly high key.
Yeah, that is high key.
But I liked the outcome because it looks like a painting.
Yeah,
Looks like
Like
something that belongs in a gallery.
Oh,
yeah,
thank
like
you.
graphic art. It's like a print. It looks like a print.
Very elegant.
Thank you.
Okay. So you had 2 folders here, I think.
Yes. And this is more what I was talking about when I say, if I was to have a style, I guess it would, you know, even though the subject matters here might be different, is more of how light affects the landscape. And so like here, this was in Hawaii. We were in the back road, and it was probably about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening. And it was getting, there was a lot of fog, and it was it's like a storm coming in or something. That's why it's dark. And so I just played with the light on this.
The grass in the center is gorgeous.
Thank you.
Oh, wow.
And that was also in Hawaii. And that's, it was pouring rain. And so I saw these flowers, and I'd not ever seen them before. And I said to my husband, I said, stop and pull over. And because they were on the side of the road. So I had him pull up and just roll down the window and take the picture from the window of these flowers. So that's where you'll see some raindrops, and you can see some kind of rain in the picture a little bit.
Wow, that's stunning.
Thank you. And this is a fun picture that I put in here. Death Valley on the Salt Flats. And that's not really the moon that was there. I put my moon in there. That moon is actually from Greenland. And, but there was a moon this was the morning picture right after sunrise, or right not before sun came up, actually. It was like a blue hour in the morning. And there was a moon in that location, but it was totally blown out because I was not concentrating on getting the moon in focus. And I don't know how to focus stack yet. So I took this picture and I took the moon out and I said, you know, maybe I'll put a different moon in there. So this was just kind of a fun trial and error thing. And then this was in California, somewhere between San Diego and Borrego Springs. It was raining and I saw this scene and I told my husband again, stop, I got to get out. So I got out in the rain and took this picture, and it reminds me of a Dutch masterpiece where they have the cows in the fields and it's kind of dark and dusk, and it's kind of the look that I like.
You have a nice color palette out of it. It's just the tones really work together well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love your color choices there. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, this one begs to be matted and framed.
Oh, thank you. And this is in Hawaii. And it's, I don't remember which beach, but it's in the Big Island. And you have to walk down quite far to this black beach. And if you walk away from the beach inland, you can only go a little ways because it's all very private, sacred land back there. But it just reminds me of like a Garden of Eden. It's so surreal and, you know, beautiful back there. So when I cropped this picture quite a bit, so you're focusing, you know, with the mountains in the middle there and kind of draw your eye back there. And I also did a little bit of, I guess, toning to this picture to make it look a little softer.
You mean where it's misty or more like the sky, the color?
No, but it was actually that little bit of mist, but the colorization of it is a little softer. It would have been more green.
Yeah.
So I toned down the greens, you know, brought up some of the turquoise in the sky, a little bit of pink in the clouds, because it was going to get maybe 3 hours, 2 hours before sunset.
Looks a little vintage color. I like that.
Yeah, pastels, a little more pastel.
Yes.
Very nice, Anne.
Thank you. Again, Hawaii, I love fog. I love the use of fog in pictures because it throws away the background, dulls the background. This was in the Hakula bird forest. And somewhere in the grass there, but they're not, I mean, it's not supposed to be what you see. There are kind of almost in the middle, there are two ninis. They're the endangered geese of the Big Island. And they're kind of hiding in the grass, but that's not why I took the picture. I took it because I liked the way the tree stood out with the fog in the background.
Oh, that's
Another picture in Hawaii, just before sunset.
yeah, really nice, Anne.
Oh, thanks. So, you know, basically what you're seeing on most of those is how the light is affecting the landscape, whether it's, you know, during the daylight and it's focusing on something like in the Hawaii, on those mountains where it's kind of softened the mountains, or, you know, here in the sunset, or the way it is refracted by the fog.
Is that a long exposure?
This one? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Your rocks always seem to have like a smoothness to them. Is that through your editing, or is that how they are out there? They're just worn by the water.
Not editing.
Okay.
I think, yeah, parts of them are smooth, but really it's lava rock. So there's a lot of texture along with the surface. Maybe parts of the surface are smooth, but then there's a lot of pot marks in those rocks.
It's remarkable how you captured the sun setting here without getting this whole area blown out. That's really well done.
Yeah, it took
It's
a
hard,
lot.
that's hard to do. You can do that process. And when you're taking it, it's really hard to see it on the back of the camera.
Yeah.
See it all in the right light. You have to have a vision as to what you can do with it after, you know, so you don't blow it out too much, or because you can always open up the clouds and things. But
Well, didn't you have a
An ND?
Pixel density?
I don't know if I did or not because it was already getting dark. So if I don't know. If I did, it would have been, you know, a graduated one, but
Yeah, see, a lot of people, Ann, would take a picture like this using all the filters if they have the time, but you have to work fast with that. So sometimes it's better just to take it, knowing what you can do in Photoshop after, you know.
Right. Yeah.
do it
No,
there
normally
instead.
I use I use my filters mostly when I have a bright sky and a dark
Yep.
foreground. Or I really want to do a long exposure, you know,
Yeah.
like, then I'll use my filters.
Yeah.
But this one, I don't think I did.
Wonderful collection.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, beautiful.
I think Anne should go last.
Oh, no.
It's a tough act to follow.
But thank you, Linda.
Okay, Bob.
Okay, I went back to our motion blur lessons we had a few months ago.
This is beautiful.
Building.
Yeah,
really,
that's gorgeous.
really good, Bob.
Yeah, thank you.
You
I
nailed it.
love that stuff, the treatment up on the top. That is just gorgeous.
This
Now,
is,
Bob, how'd you get the blues? That's beautiful.
well, I sent in a picture of the raw, and then this is the finished product right here. If you move over one image, you'll see the original. Yeah, that's the original.
Wow.
The building, the glass is kind of bluish. And so
Oh,
I
you
have
got it.
about 3 layers with the motion blur going in 3 different directions.
I
on
was
that.
wondering how you did that. That's
That's
then
beautiful.
I can see it now. Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
perfect.
really nice,
that
Bob.
really well done.
yeah,
Really creative.
yeah, thank you. I
colors
use
work.
different modes. I think what I have them written down here: subtract, divide, and overlay on each of the layers, and each of them came out different.
Bringing in that gold coloration really.
That sets it right off. Yeah.
Well, and the
Yeah,
grays in
with-
the background are nice.
Mhm. Yeah, and I tried to sharpen the motion blur as best I could on each of
Beautiful.
the photo.
You really got that right.
Yeah, thank you. And if you want to show the raw photo for this one, that's the raw image. This is a building on Orchard Lake Road near Maple, 15 Mile in West Bloomfield. I just happened to come across it. So I thought it would be interesting to see what I could do with it.
Both of these really work well, the black and white and the
Yeah, they're outstanding.
Both of them outstanding, Bob.
They are. I really like the
Really
black and
good.
white one. The
Yeah.
black and white one that's striking
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I
How
might
did you get that sunburst kind of thing in the middle there, Bob? That's
That's
really
beautiful.
Yeah, that's a sky replacement I put in, and this is a radial blur, I think it's called, where you can have the blur go out and all around in a circle.
If we have time, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but that's a really great application. You can see 2 different styles of skies here.
Mhm.
So separating the sky from the building and then working at them separately really works well. It's amazing all the reflections and the colors. It's just beautiful.
1 layer with motion blur, and difference is the mode on that one.
You get the cool colors.
Yeah. So my photos are a little bit different than Ann's. Mine are not as subtle.
Oh,
as
they're
her.
beautiful though.
I really like yours, Ann.
Oh,
Really.
thank you. Well, these are so creative. Very excellent.
Yeah, thank you. I'm working on another one. I just didn't have time to finish it.
This is my favorite one right here.
Yeah.
So Bob, on this one, did you like apply something like difference to get the gold colors and then made your blur? Because I don't see that gold color in the original image, so it must have.
No, yeah, I'm not sure where that came from, but
The
first
bring out
I
the colors.
I'm sorry,
first I
what
did I did the blur first on all 3 photos, and then I put them all together with different modes, and I just kept on playing with moving the layers up and down, and to see what I would get. Sometimes you
Okay.
just wouldn't get anything, and other
What I-
times you would get something like this. So
Yeah, what I really
Oh.
like about it is in the blue part over on the left, it's real bright.
mhm.
Like this, and then the left side it's kind of dark. So if you got like light coming in from one side, it's just beautiful the way it's
Well, then just the color,
counterbalances each other. You
the
know,
greens and the browns on the sides.
yeah,
Beautiful.
they're a little different side to side. They just really
Yeah, thank
so
you.
interesting.
Thank you.
And the cropping is just right, you know, the widescreen type
Yeah.
crop. So all around, well done.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I don't want to show mine.
Doug doesn't usually bring pictures because he doesn't do a lot of street photography, but I told him, I said, you got to bring
But
some.
this time you said it was anything you do. So
That's right.
this is what I do. And,
Okay.
and this is just stuff I've shot in the last couple months, you know, around home here and up. Yeah, this was up north, up in the UP. But just, straight fall color stuff.
Yeah, natural beauty.
And all I do is use Photoshop to bring out the shadows and things. And, none of it's really manipulated a lot.
So is that the lake close to Pete's?
What?
Is that the lake that's close to Pete's?
I don't know which lake this is.
Okay.
I don't remember.
It's the one, the boat where we shot the Milky Way.
Oh yeah. This is what's the name of that lake, Keith? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's where we do the Milky Way all the time from the boat launch. That's right. This is the one where Keith, you went in the water, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I went in the water. Yeah.
Yeah, this is over to the left there. Okay. Yep.
Got it.
Exactly. That's exactly. I couldn't remember where it was. It was our first day up there. Yeah.
Did Keith go in unintentionally?
No. He went.
I had boots on.
He brought his boots. I had mine too, but he put his on and went walking out in the water because right to our left there was a bunch of cattails, and you had to walk out to really get the good view. And I didn't do that. I just shot what I could,
Okay.
So and did it. And this was just another more walk, just the forest floor. And actually, Keith found this line of. We are all looking at these ground spruce, and he found this arrangement of them. And I just kind of asked him if I could shoot it, and just did kind of a macro shot of it. I like this kind of stuff rather than big scenes all the time. When you don't have sun and wrong light and everything. But so
You learn to find other things when the light is.
I'm always
helping you.
looking.
Yeah.
I'll shoot anything. So
Yeah, I like that too.
yep. So. And this was just a scene of leaves and some ferns, and I try to play with it in black and white, but I think it's a little messy myself. So not simple enough, but
Can you intentionally try to go in and soften up the background a little bit?
well, the background's about 6 inches from the ferns. So,
Okay.
kind of
Yep.
like laying on it. They're there, you can
Okay.
blur them out a little bit, but no, I would just find a situation where it's more homogeneous and stuff. But
I feel like there's a lot to play with the dodging and burning.
yeah.
Right.
Really
Yeah.
bring out some depths.
Yeah, I did some of that stuff with it. And
Mhm,
what I
mhm.
liked about this was the ferns in the upper right there, the one that's brighter than
Right.
the other ones. That's the one that attracted me to it. And
Yes.
Oh, that's nicely
Yeah,
done.
that's pretty.
Oh,
Like the red against the birch.
yeah,
And then the
I'm always looking for shots where I can just shoot straight into the woods using like an 80 to 400 or something. See, and just got a branch going across. Years ago, I saw pictures like all the big nature photographers used to do these pictures where they used to hold a branch in front of birch trees, like it's growing through them.
Mhm.
But I just look for it, and
Yep.
it's just the color. It's basically the colors and everything. Yeah.
That's pretty reflection. And then those like lily pads, they're
Yep.
really add to
Yep.
it. It's pretty.
Yeah. This is another lake we went to that the picture is looking to your left. If you got in the late afternoon when the sun's setting and the light hits it right, I took a picture there several years ago, and I go back there every year, and I've never seen it like that again, where it's mirrored. But this was what it was like over to the right side, you know. And just off the right side of the picture, there's a line of photographers there standing shooting out the other direction, you know, stuff. So. Oh, this is out my window. I just put it in because you can see this buck. This was the other day. You see, he's rubbing his antlers on the tree there,
Yep.
scratching it all up. It's just right off my deck.
Oh, that's cool.
It just was able to capture it.
Ooh, that's sharp.
Yeah, that's
So Gary and I were at Greenfield Village, and a week or so ago, was that a week ago, Gary? A couple weeks ago?
Yeah, Sunday, yes.
And there was this treetop, and I just said when I saw it right away, you know, Gary was shooting the whole tree with a fence and waiting for the right people to walk by. And this is what I see, because I don't do the people type stuff. So I kind of saw this, and I told him when I was seeing it, it's going to be kind of a panoramic, you know, just to the crown of the tree. And I did it in color. I really like it in color, but I liked it in black and white too.
Yeah, it's dramatic.
Yeah.
It was an amazing tree, and it's right in that area where they're building the vegetable market.
It's right behind the clock tower. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right where they're building. But it was behind the fence, so you couldn't see the bottom of the tree anyhow. It was behind the fence, but I just liked the top there, you know.
I like how it fills the frame.
Well, that's what I saw when I saw it. I pictured doing just this. I think I told
Yeah.
Gary that too. That's what I was going to do with it.
If I can find the picture real quick, I'll show you the rest.
Yeah, the whole scene. Okay, this isn't the one I wanted. I wanted to put another one in. It was better. This is inside the Glass Museum at Greenfield Village, and this is one of the sculptures. And it's just close up, shooting through plexiglass at it. And I have one that they're much sharper, but it looks like, you know, a bunch of buildings, you know,
Yeah.
and the
That's what I
sunset
thought.
stuff. And I have several versions of it where they're a little more curved, and, you know, in the morning it looks like one way, and in the afternoon the light reflects through it differently from the windows. And I just found it interesting. So.
Nice.
Okay. I spent a couple mornings going to Kensington. I bought a new lens, and I was over trying it out, and I went over there early one morning, and one lens I got repaired. And when I came, you know, I had to go try it out and everything. So I just went over there a couple mornings in a row and had a great sunrise. This is like the Hickory Ridge coming off of Island Lake Road. So it's one of my new favorite places to photograph the sunrise and stuff there, you know.
Very
So, but there's
pretty.
several pictures in here from this area over a couple days, but this was one day. This was another one there.
We've had some great sunsets. Ooh.
Love the fog.
Yeah, I like
And
it.
this was there. This was like last Monday or Tuesday when I went over there, and it got real foggy in the morning, and the sun, where the sun's coming up over to the right, you're looking across the expressway there through the trees, you know, it's way over.
How
And
early?
we just happened to have
morning
these ducks swimming by, and it broke the water and it gave it some more interest. And it was fog as far as you get, and it was real foggy all morning.
So is this
So-
like 7 a.m. or
Huh?
well, how early in the morning are we talking? Like
I get there, the sun comes up about 7:15, so I'm there before 7 o'clock.
Oh,
It's real early. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this lasted a long time. You could shoot a long time here because of the fog. So
Well, it's worth getting up when you get nice pictures like that, though.
yeah,
Yeah,
I know. Well, I have to drive an hour to get there too.
Oh, yeah.
God.
So I go taking a chance, and this fog it just was real good. I like the streaks of the sun over there coming through.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I stand in the same spot and just walk, 10 feet to the right and left, and I just keep shooting different compositions all over the place. So it's always changing. So
Nice. You got some good stuff. Oh, wow. Nice.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
now this is from the West Boat Launch there, right by the Nature Center, over at the boat slot. When I got there, there was four of them standing in a row like this, preening, sleeping, and kind of preening. And I had to run back to the car and get a longer lens because the lens I had was too wide, or it was too big because I had my 500. It was too much, so I had to go back and get a different lens. And when I got back, a couple of them moved off and only 2 of them were there still. But it was early in the morning too, before the sun comes up, kind of.
So I love the colors. Their feathers are these birds are grayer than the ones you see in the spring. Is it because their feathers change, or are these young birds?
No, it's just, yeah, the feathers are the color what they eat. Down in Florida, they're more gray. And up here, the sandhill cranes are always more of a rust color, you know?
Yeah. But I
Yeah,
know
these
in
are
the
just,
fall, they're more gray again. So
yeah, they're losing their breeding plumage and stuff too. So.
okay.
I think
Well,
gray is their right color. And then like up here, when they're preening all the time, the water's got rust in it.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets off onto the feathers.
But this was just shot last week. So, you know,
Yeah.
they're
Well,
kind
it
of changing
works.
back to gray.
Uh,
The
And
gray
as you know,
feathers-
they're everywhere. So,
Yeah, that's winter plumage there. The
yeah.
spring plumage is much brighter.
Yeah, the spring plumage
Reddish
is much
brown.
brighter on the head and everything else. So, yeah.
And was it a little foggy in that picture too? I
Yeah,
love the,
yeah, it was foggy also in the fog. That's the one thing I wanted to do. I wanted to use a longer lens. I wanted to capture the fog too. I didn't
I
want
love
it to
that.
be,
Look.
you know,
it's
you
really
can use
nice.
dehaze and get rid of a lot of that fog, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted it to be foggy like
Good.
that.
It adds to
agree.
the picture. It's really nice.
And I left the color on the left side. You know, I could have taken some of that out, but I just, you know, just kind of
I like
No,
it.
I like that.
balances it.
The colors in the bird. I like when you have that color harmony.
You could also make a single shot of just the left bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what I did in the last month or so. And
Pretty damn nice.
Yeah, real nice,
A
Doug.
lot of good work.
Oh my.
Well, this looks like mine. I'm surprised it's small, but
I can take those. Let me take
Pandemic.
them to at
I
least
spent a lot of time in the house and in the backyard, and most of these pictures were taken in my den, and most of the flowers came from my backyard.
are you
No.
using a light table?
Yes, I'll talk about that a little bit as we go.
All right.
There were 2 people that got me interested in doing these high key, and one of them was I got her name here. I watched it. Her name is Lisa Couture,
Oh, okay.
and she did a web what do you call it? Show
Webinar?
kind of thing. Yeah, webinar. And this was taken using her technique, and basically her technique was just overexpose it by 2 stops and then do some adjustments, and that's the way it came out. So it was pretty simple. You can go to the next one.
Nice.
Oh, this is one I did. I know Lenore's done a lot of these. I don't dare enter them in because she's got all these things covered, but this is one I just, this is another one using her technique that I have taken. And these are all done upstairs in the room I have set up for it. You can go to the next one. And this is one of the first ones I really tried. This is the forsythias. You can see what time of year it was when the forsythias were blowing. And the same thing, the same technique that I learned from her. So you can go to the next one. Okay, now we're getting into the light table. I read an article in the PSA journal, and this woman was talking about a photographer. His name is Harold Davis, and he does a lot of these, we call them light table type shots. And so I have a picture of my setup here, but one of the problems I had, the way his works, he takes, like, sets up a good exposure, and then he will increase the exposure by 1 EV stop. Then he'll take another picture and increase it another 1 V stop. And he does this like maybe 5 times. And then he goes to the very, very highest exposure, and he starts to paint these things in. It's kind of like doing focus stacking, but you're doing exposure stacking. And so I tried this technique, and this is, to get this look. And one of the issues that I had was when I have a backlit light flower like this, if like some parts of the flower does not get any of the light and it comes out black. So I ended up putting a little bit of light on the front so that it would look, so I didn't have any really dark black spots on the picture. Here's the other thing. After I got all these high key pictures I was taking, I got into watching Matt Kakowski's texture. So I started to make my own textures. This is one of the textures that I made. And I applied it over the whole flower and vase. And I went back, this one doesn't show it, but maybe it does. If you don't put the texture on the vase, it looks real funny because it's real bright. So the texture actually gives it a overall, everything like fits to the picture. Like you can't tell that it's been a background added.
So did you put it on top then or behind?
I just put the texture over the whole image.
And it didn't change the color of the flowers?
No, it did not. Well, what I did, when I did these textures, I got into Camera Raw, and I got a real big brush. Or you can do the radio blur thing, but I got this real big brush, and I put it all around, and I put a real high 100% feather on it, and then I decreased the exposure. It made the real light in the center. That's why it's darker on the outsides and it's real light towards the center. So that would give so there wasn't that much texture applied to the flowers.
Yeah, you can see it around in the dark parts on the edges, but not over the flowers. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's my setup that when I took that picture.
Wow.
I had there, but they had the what do you call it, the porta-plati or whatever, and I had these two lights set up there to take the lights on, put the lights on the front of the flower, and then I lit the back part with that light pad.
Now you can use a softbox instead of a light table if you need to.
Yeah, but the softbox for me, it's you got to have it's a flash type setup where this is more a continuous light setup, and you can see what you're doing a little bit better. And here's, I was out on the golf course and I saw this leaf or a branch there, and I was just so fascinated with it because it had red and green on it, and I used the Davis look where I took several exposures of it. And one thing I found is you might take, according to him, 6 different exposures, but then when you get down and start doing the combining, you might only combine 2 or 3 of them. And sometimes I think you could, if it's really a flat object, you could almost just get by with this F22 or something like that. But I like this one a lot because it shows the 2 different colors. It's a change of it's going on at that time of year.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, that was the same background, just a little bit different color. I changed it, tone to it. There's what it looked like before I started.
So was that Bob Davis?
Harold
let's
Davis.
see, Harold.
Harold.
Yeah, he has a couple videos. I'll warn you, they're 2 hours long and it's very boring.
Hey, Lou, remind me later sometime if I see you, I'll tell you a story about him because I met him in California last year when I went to that Chicago thing at Yosemite. So he was one of the instructors.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird guy.
Yeah, he uses 2 light tables, and he explains so much stuff, and he gets so carried away with himself that, he might talk for an hour and not say much.
That's right.
So anyway, this one's a backlit flower that I found in my backyard. I'm not sure what kind. This is the hibiscus.
Yep.
You can see how dark the center is there, and that's what the problem is when you do the backlit type approach.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's some more leaves. Now, this was done on the light table, but I took it laying down on the floor. And I put
then
another
you-
background.
Texture over it?
No, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. And it depends when I watched this Matt Kukowski's video on how to apply some of these textures. And what he does is he puts a selection around the subject, and then he puts the selection on the background, and then he does an alternate copy, the
invert?
Yeah, invert copy, so that it punches a hole right into the texture and puts it in there. Then he goes around the edges and kind of feathers it in so it looks natural. So there's another one. This was done on the light table, and you can see how the dark white petals came out.
Mm-hmm.
I tried real hard to get as light as I could. And one thing, when somebody said they like the painterly look, if you do this correctly, you can make these things look just like water paints, almost water painting.
It's really pretty.
This is another one I did, and this one was on a mirror, and that's why it looks so weird on the bottom, because you can see kind of like a double shadow there. And I used a texture from one of the Kukowski's textures. This was a sky that was blurred.
It's very sophisticated looking. I think.
Mm-hmm. And that was it before I put the texture on it.
Mm-hmm.
This one here is that you saw the image before. What I did was I just flipped it upside down and made a copy of it and put them together. And I used this texture I got from the Topaz texture. They have a program they have. My goal is to be able to make textures like this someday. I'm still working on it. So
I like that one.
Yeah, I do too.
That's one of my favorites.
And that's the one that you saw earlier. It seems like the order got changed when I sent them to you, Bob.
Maybe.
But anyway, that's the, I put this, you can see I'm getting a lot of use of my texture here. It's the same texture. And then, so I think we've seen this one before, didn't we?
I don't think so.
No.
Well, that was that. Yeah, and that's okay. That's the same roses that I had before in the other picture. And this is another pot. This is the same rose bush. I like this one because I like those little buds. Little buds they had on there. I just wanted to capture that.
Oh, the colors were nice too.
Yeah, I like the textures you added around the color to match the buds.
Mm-hmm.
It
I like
surprises it surprises me that you have a 30-second exposure on this.
Say again?
It surprises me that you had a 30-second exposure on this. And many others have 15 or 8.
Well, it's hard to tell you what the exposure was because I set the camera up in manual, and then I go ahead and I adjust it so it's all, the exposure is correct. And then I'll go in and I'll change my my shutter speed so that it will go up 1 EV stop, and then I will do it again, and I would do this maybe 4 or 5 times. And then I would take all of these pictures and I'd enter them into Photoshop as layers. Mm-hmm. And then with these layers, I would go in and start painting in the different areas that I wanted to paint in and just get them to where I wanted them. I didn't want to overexpose them. I wanted to kind of underexpose them. I wanted to get the translucence, be translucent. And so to tell you that is a 30-second exposure, it's, it could be on one of the pictures, but not all of them, And I don't know which one got picked up in the metadata.
Yeah, it's up here in the corner, 30 seconds on this one.
Yeah, well, because that was the one that was on the bottom. That was what I started with. That's probably why it's got that exposure.
Okay.
Any questions?
Good job on all those.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Okay, so I don't have a lot of the scene architecture. You guys have seen most of them. It's not something I know. Some of these are, you know, nature photos as well. I'm kind of like Doug, but this was one that I actually thought of was kind of a reject. But after the high key thing, I started thinking this could maybe work as high key. It has kind of a high key look to it already. And actually, Bob Hagopian helped me with the image, gave me some advice on editing. He actually edited it and kind of talked me through the process, and it turned out really, really quite nice as a high key image. But I also thought the image had a painterly quality to it, almost a watercolor look to it. And so Gary, I know you've talked about your Norman Rockwell style, but I wondered if at some point, and you can use this image, help me make this look a little more like a watercolor. Now, if I were to submit it in club, I think I need the swans, you know, to be sharp and all that. But if I were to, I was thinking of making this into a wrap canvas print for my daughter for her bedroom. And I think a watercolor look would look really pretty. So,
To be honest with you, I don't think you have to do too much of this, Linda. This is a pretty nice picture.
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
you feel like it already has that kind of watercolor
It does.
feel? And,
Well, you can try it, but you know, there's you don't have to apologize for the quality of this image. This is a pretty nice image. The only thing I would look at is the cropping. You might want to bring this down a little bit from the top. It's a beautiful picture.
okay.
The other thing, if you want to print it and you like the watercolor feel, maybe print it with watercolor paper.
Yeah, a little textured paper would be a nice way to print this.
Or a matte paper or something, yeah.
Yeah.
A little thing, you might get rid of those, there's a couple little leads floating in there that kind of detract, you know, just those little dark.
Right there,
leaves.
Yeah.
Get
You
rid
know,
of those.
Keith, I did take a couple out, but I liked the color. See, I'm very, I like when my colors harmonize. I like to pull, so the swans have that gold color in them and reflections.
Well, I just look at what's the picture about? It's about the swans. And,
Yeah.
The leaf right over the top of them is kind of, your eye goes right to it all the time.
See, mine doesn't, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the way the soft blue water outlines the
Yeah.
swans. That brings out
Yeah.
the white in the
It makes
Yes,
it
you don't
stand out, yeah.
That's really pretty, Linda. And you know that place in Washington State? Didn't you send some things there that I told you about?
yeah.
Because they have those different types of papers that everybody's talking about, and would be so much better than on canvas.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. I'll have to think about that.
Yeah, because it's beautiful
Bay
picture.
Photo has that stuff. I'm like, I've been using Bay Photo, and I think they do some nice.
Okay,
Well,
good.
you can have them use watercolor, or do you print any of your own stuff?
No, Bob. I can. No.
Okay.
No. So this photo I had entered in club, and this photo, I included it because I think of it as my little badge of courage. I put it into club and it scored absolutely terribly. It was, out of the 150 images that night, it was the second lowest scoring image. And I got, you know, it stung.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, well, you know, it got like a 1.9, which, you know, clearly people gave it a 1, and it threw me because I love this image and I just not.
Was this for an assignment?
No, I put it in color. And I knew it
Oh.
wouldn't score great because it's a very soft image. There's not a lot of color in it, but it did kind of rattle my confidence, and I couldn't understand how there was such a disconnect between this image.
I think the problem people may have is the subject is the bird, and it's so small, it's hard to see the detail of him.
But for me, it's not, the bird is the subject, but it's not. So what ended up happening is I ended up putting it in digital photography school. Are you familiar with that? It's a photography forum, and you can share your images, and you can also ask for critique. And I do think there's some good photographers in that group, and I do think they can give you some really good advice. And Ann knows this. I put this image in, and it absolutely blew up. And
Yeah, over 500 responses, I think. You got, Linda, and they were
Oh, and-
almost all positive.
everybody, overwhelmingly, people love this image, and they commented, and their comments were not just, you know, nice image, great shot. It was all, you know, oh, this bird makes me feel like this, or this photo make me think of that. And I mean, one woman had lost her husband, and she wrote this big comment about how she's so connected with this image. And it just, I realized that maybe it's not the most technical image, but a lot of what I like to do, I want my photos to connect with people. I want them to feel something when they see them. And so I realized, you know, I hit the mark in that regard. And
Well, there's definitely, you know, this, you talk about emotion. If this was on a greeting card or a sympathy card,
yes,
yeah, it's a little different thing than a competition at club. Yeah.
right. And that's what I have to remember this image, that, you know, color is not the last word. And sometimes a lot about a photograph is how it makes you feel. So when I say the bird's not really the subject, for me, it was more how this image makes you feel was the subject, which I don't know if that's a thing, but it is for me. So, but anyway, so that's why I put that in there. I hope everybody has an image like that, you know, that they love and it works for them.
Linda, for what it's worth, I would have given you a 5 in club for this.
Oh, Gary, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. It's hard. I get attached.
Why Gary's not in the club.
Yeah.
No, I just kidding.
This one is really nice.
Thank
That's
you,
great,
Bob.
Linda.
Yeah.
So I, like Ann, I really do like light, and I do like a painterly look, kind of I go back and forth between the watercolory looks and the high key graphic looks. And this to me was more of a oil painting kind of a look. This was at the Vintner Gorge in Slovenia. And actually, we were fortunate enough to be staying in the area for a couple days. And the first time I went through, I took so many pictures. It's an absolutely remarkably breathtaking place. But when I got home and went through my photos, I was overly confident. And the photos were awful because me as a more beginner photographer, the lighting was very challenging. There was a lot of shadow and a lot of bright. And so luckily I was able to go back the next day and retake some of the images. But this is one of them. So, and then again, it was the light in this scene that attracted me to this. This is Pelis Castle in Romania. And it was early morning, and you just get really soft. It almost gives a 3D picture, that kind of a lighting. So I liked that.
Yeah, no, just looking at this, there's a lot of yellow in the grass here. And you might go into hue, luminance, and saturation and just turn the luminance and the yellow up. And some of these areas might just pop up just a little bit more.
So you're saying actually add some yellow in?
No, the luminance, not the saturation. Just
to brighten it.
Yeah, just brighten these. It'll just pop this just a little bit.
Okay.
It's a nice picture.
Thank you. This was at Kensington, and Gary, this is, I've been using a lot, you made a suggestion and I have just latched onto it, the bluing of the shadows and the yellowing of the highlights. And this was an image where I took it a little bit further, so I do think the image has a blue cast. I don't know how that will be received in club, but from an artistic point of view, I really like it. I feel like it, for me, it gives the picture a November feel. And again, there's a color palette here that appeals to me with the reds, the blues. gold.
It's not like some of Anne's pictures where she's gone to a different kind of a color palette, and it really works well.
Yeah, I like the orange and the blue in this, Linda.
Thank you, Anne.
Yeah, nice, very nice. I love the grass. The grass is in the front there.
This was just, again, you know, I feel like a lot of the things we've talked about with the architecture and street scenes, those techniques are applicable in these nature scenes as well. And so this is really just dodging and burning.
This one begs to have a woman crawling through the grass.
Yes.
Exactly.
Wyatt, there's Christine to be right there.
Right.
Put one in Photoshop.
But you know, sometimes I do like sometimes just a clean, simple image. It appeals to me in that way too. But yeah, it probably could look boring to some people, I'm sure.
I like this kind of look too, Linda. In fact, I saw something on, I forget who the photographer was, but they were on Harrison Lewis in Scotland. And they took a picture that would be something that I would take because I just love this look, this kind of look where you have a long foreground and it's very
I was just going to say the same thing because a lot of English or British photographers or Scottish photographers, their landscapes look like this because that's what they look like there. There's nothing there, you know, there's no mountains and stuff. It's all just open hills and meadows, you know, and farms.
And sometimes I do tend to
That's what it reminds me of. Yeah.
Yeah, I do tend to think from an interior decorating point of view, and sometimes these cleaner images work so much better for interior design because they don't compete with.
Yeah. They're good in a print. They're really good printed. Yeah.
I wanted to say something about that earlier. That there was you guys were talking about the high key type images and stuff. There's a photographer out there, Lisa Langell.
Yes.
And if you go look at her stuff, she did a video I saw once for Tamron, I think it was. And it was on high key nature photography, but her stuff is done mostly for home decor. And it was absolutely beautiful. And she showed how she did it and stuff. And it was fantastic seeing, you know, like bison out in the field. It's all white except the line of the bison like drawn in, and it's all just done with sliders and stuff, you know.
Yeah. Actually, Bob Hagopian. Really good. Bob Hagopian told me about her, and I did watch her webinar gonna do the swans, and
yeah,
I thought she was great, Doug, and I was thanking Bob.
She's very artistic.
Yeah,
she does them for a certain reason, you know. She sells a ton of them, so. You know.
Linda, I'm back on the last picture. I see a really nice picture of vertical, just using the right side of the picture and just chopping off like probably 2/3 of from the left, and just I think that would be just a real nice vertical
because it's a little more dramatic on the.
Yeah, and you have the clouds up above and the trees are a little more.
Yeah.
You know, Keith, I like what she's trying to do because in the left corner, she has that grass sweeping through, pointing you right up to that direction.
Okay, that does
probably could work either way.
Just kind of adds to, you know, you follow that grass right up there. So
I think this would also work. This is something that Lisa does, is she would cut this photo in 3 sections.
Yeah, that's right.
Vertical sections.
Like a triptych, yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Like printed up as a triptych?
Yeah.
Yep.
Three vertical pictures, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that would work too.
So I'm not the best portraits, but this is my grandson, so I try. And again, Gary, I have fallen in love with split tone, and I really think it works for this picture. It's tough with club because I don't think it's probably going to do very well in the color category. But I just think, you know, I tried black and white, and he's too soft for black and white. Black and white's too formal. So I don't know what you guys think, but I really like the split tone.
Looks nice.
Yeah, looks nice. Now in the split tone now, Linda, did you edit this before the new version of Lightroom? You know, now the split
yes.
tone. Okay.
Yes, I did edit this I did it in Photoshop actually, way back when Gary
Yeah.
kind of showed us how to use the split
There's a
tone.
lot more options with the new split tone.
I
It-
might drop a little bit on the top here,
Yeah.
just a little bit.
Yeah.
I think you take great photos of your grandchildren.
Okay, and Gary, you're thinking take out that horizontal bar. I don't know.
Well, you might want to cut it right
Yeah,
about.
like make it a 4x5.
Yeah, that's good.
4x6.
Yeah.
Yep.
4x5 is a great ratio for portraits.
Yep.
Yeah, I really love the expression on his face.
Yeah, it's not your typical.
Yeah.
So cute.
Well, you show him that picture when he's older, and he'll probably he won't appreciate it as much as we do.
Yeah, thanks, Grammy. And then this was high key. You know, this was from group. We had kind of talked about different black and white, and so this was something I had done more in the high key. And Bob, I did the little color picker, making sure it was 255 with the white.
Okay,
Good.
So, yeah.
good. Nice.
And then Gary, this was, I think I honestly, I couldn't repeat this if I had to, but it was using the blend modes when I have a lot of photos of this dancer. You guys will probably see them, but you can only do so many black and white, and messing around with it, I ended up with this, and I'm really happy with it. I like it, but
Yeah, I like this one. This is good.
Linda, that would be a nice one in the creative.
yes,
Yeah, that's really nice.
thank you.
Good job.
And then this was more of an architecture type photo. This was at Wayne States, and the same young lady.
Really balances the photo with her in there.
Yeah.
Great composition.
Thank you. And here's my split tone again, and I tried it in color, I tried it in black and white, and I did it in split tone, and I love it.
Yeah, I like it in split tone too, Linda.
But again, in club, it probably, I'm guessing, it has to go in color, and so. But I like
Did
this.
you try it like a sepia or anything, or did that
I
not?
did. I
Okay.
don't know. For me, there's something about that blue tone to it, the cool blue with the.
Mhm.
It
Ma-
just-
With the statue, it fits too. the
Yeah,
cool
because
tone.
the statue's hard. It has that
Mhm.
metal hold, so the blue works. And her body, she's warm. So
Yeah, maybe even warm it up even a little more. Try to see what that looks like on the highlights.
okay,
Like put a little yellow in it, you thinking?
Yeah, just warm it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that might add a little bit much to it, nicety to it, a little more pizzazz or something.
It's a great shot. That fan is really nice touch.
Good
yeah,
anchor.
she was a great model, very professional.
Yeah, you did a lot of good photos from that shoot, Linda.
Got some
You
nice
did.
clouds here.
Yeah, this is a very old photo. I don't think I took it in RAW. I'm not even sure if I had a very good camera when I took it, but I tried to do kind of the painterly look. I don't know how well I succeeded, but the clouds are great, and you can see the rain in the distance. There's a bit of a rainbow popping through the sun, on the other side of it. Just has a lot going on in it.
Pretty good.
Yeah, nice group of pictures.
Thank you.
I'm not sure who.
This is my Keith.
Okay, great.
Okay, this is from 2019. I was in Newfoundland and walking around, and these hands, these
Yeah.
gloves demanded a picture. So this is, I guess, in the realm of street photography without people.
Yeah,
I like it.
there's a lot going on in that picture, a lot to look at. I like that. I like my eye traveling all around a picture and discovering things.
That's nice, Keith. Good job.
Yeah, I like the textures in here with the broken window and the paint peeling.
I love old doors and windows, so I'm always looking for those. So. The peeling paint too. That's
Nice buildings.
this is the town of Trinity. We spent about 3 days in this town. So
Where's
early in the
it?
morning, I go out. And,
Where's this located?
Newfoundland.
Oh. Wow.
In Newfoundland, they like a lot of bright colors on the buildings. So houses
Yeah.
and stuff are often painted really bright colors.
It seems like it would work really well with that painterly style. Those colors.
And don't they do that in a lot of the seaside towns like Burano? It's so that the
Yeah,
seafarers-
St. John. Yeah, there's an area in St. John where all the houses are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
hillsides.
they can recognize their house from the ocean or the sea.
Hmm.
Oh,
Oh,
nice
that's
Oh,
refreshing.
that's nice. I like that.
I do too.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's great.
Orange and teal again.
Yeah.
I'm glad you went with the square format. That really works well with the window.
The windows. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice, Keith.
More of a Andrew Wyeth field, or
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's the first thing I thought of when I saw that.
Put Christine in the boat.
What about
I
a
don't think I'd
little?
want to go out in that boat.
What about a little bit of sepia tone on this? Do you think that would add to the Andrew Wyeth kind of a?
Well, I think it would. I think that's a good idea, Gary. Yeah.
Well, it certainly is. Got all the elements.
That's good. I like that carnation can.
That's a good street scene, no people image.
Yeah, I had to turn the can around so that the lettering would be out there, but nobody was around. So
Is it possible to like decrease the shadows of the window so you could see maybe a little bit of what's inside, or would that not be a good?
Like dehaze it or something and then bring up the brightness?
Yeah, just lighten it up and then maybe see, because I can see there's a lantern in there. I don't know.
yep, could always try it and see what happens. Yeah,
Yeah, see if you like it or not.
yeah,
Oh, did you use a fisheye for this?
yeah. This is a fisheye lens. I stayed in this place for 3 days, and I loved the colors there. And there was no other way to get all of the chairs in on the porch. It went down like 2 stories straight down. So I took the fisheye out and was able to get the shot I wanted.
That's gorgeous.
Oh, Keith.
Yeah.
I went back to some of this is at the Ross Business School, and I did the linear blur and the difference. So I did this on, I think, a couple of them. This one.
Wow,
That's inside the building.
I can't believe the colors you got. Is the colors are just from difference, or did you like do difference like?
Just from difference, and then I
Oh,
put a camera raw filter on top to brighten it up.
Wow.
This was
On this one, I kind of mirrored the thing and darkened the bottom. And I think the next one is just the top part of this.
Oh my gosh. I think you and Bob have nailed this technique.
Yeah.
those are
really nice.
It's
nice.
real striking, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
It's unbelievable, the difference.
Yeah,
Wow.
the difference makes.
Yeah. And talk about color harmony. I just love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's even flowers in that window. I didn't notice that.
Good stuff. All right.
Gary,
Really,
Nice.
Gary, you should be
Very good.
proud how you have inspired all of us.
I am very impressed. I am.
Well,
Wow.
we owe you a lot, I think.
No.
That's for sure. We
all the
do.
work. You guys are good. There's one trick I picked up I want to show. And I set this up so it doesn't take so long to no, this isn't it. Bridge Photoshop. It's when you're using the sky replacement, there's a lot of times you want to put in a different sky. And in the olden days, when you were trying to do it the long way, the biggest challenge is getting the masking done so that you're cutting out along all these different details. And that was the hard part. It was kind of easy to do the sky once you got that all out, but the majority of the work was in the masking. So what I thought of is when you're doing this sky replacement, and this is a medium format file, so it's a huge file. So what I did is I've already got it done. I'm just going to go through the different steps here. Here's a sky that I put in.
Wow.
And what's interesting is that when you come down and look at the layers here, Photoshop actually gives you and breaks this down into 4 layers. There's a sky layer, foreground lighting, foreground color, and then the background. Well, if you look at the mask, here's all the work they've done. They've created this mask, and then right next to it is actually the sky. So the work is all done. And if you want to take that sky, click on just the sky portion of that, and you want to go in and use a blur filter, like a radial blur. What I would do is now, and if you're going to do this, take note to the different adjustments here. You turn up the amount to 100%, so you're going to get the maximum blur. Set blur method to zoom and the quality to best. And then for the blur center, pick a spot on the picture that you think you want these lines converging to. In this picture, I wanted to get it where this building was so that the sky looks like it's going off in a time motion and it's going to end up right there. So here's what the blur looks like after you do it. And this can be a technique that can really come in handy when you're trying to do architectural work with blurred skies, because the software is going to do all the work for you, and then you can just go in and work with that layer independently. Now you've got the sky with the blur, and you can take that layer by itself without the foreground, take that into Camera Raw, make some changes in the contrast, the colors, and things like that, and it's still separated from the foreground. Then you can flatten the image and then decide, do I want to do a black and white? Do I want to leave it in color? So it's just a technique in a way of taking advantage of what Adobe's doing for you with the sky replacement tool. And I'm really excited about seeing some of the other things that they're coming out with these filters that they're bringing on. That's going to be a lot of fun when they get all these done. So take a look at that.
When you flatten the image, you cannot undo that now. You can't go back to that individual.
Right. I mean, if you're going to save this and you think you want to come back later, save it with all the layers. And, and that would be a good thing to do.
So I had started to take a Photoshop class, but it got canceled midway because of the COVID thing. So one of the things he had told us, and maybe you're familiar with it, but if you press down on Control, Shift, and Alt, and then press E, you can compress all those layers into a single image, but you'll still have, it doesn't actually compress them. You still have all your layers.
Yeah, it makes a copy and combines one set.
Yeah, so that if you then want to work on the whole image or something, I don't know. So
So you've got 4 layers there, and if you do that Command Shift Control E, whatever it is, it will copy all those and then flatten them, so you have a single layer that's made up of all 4 of those on top.
Right, but you don't lose all those layers. They're still there too.
Yeah.
Okay, I figured you guys probably already knew, but.
You can see what a wonderful job it does for masking, getting into all these details. If you're doing this by hand, it would just be an and I did it, and it's a lot of work. So having this tool available to do architectural things and get the kind of skies that you want, this is a huge advantage. So, okay,
Nice.
Bob, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Well, there's not a whole lot to turn back to other than what do you guys want to do going forward? Because this is your group. Do you want to continue learning new techniques like Gary keeps giving us one every so often? What's one thought? Another thought is, I know Kevin had said that he does a lot of car work. If you have an interest in that, do you want him to do a session on how he does car photography and editing? Do you want to go off into the assignments for next year, which are varied subjects? And should we, in advance of those, a couple, 3 months, work on those techniques or those particular artists? Are there things you want to do? Like what brings me to mind is Gary had done some architectum characteristics here a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, we were into that. Is that maybe, Gary, if you've got some handy, we could show them just as an example of another technique that you can apply to street photography. I don't even know if the current actions we have for those will work with the latest versions of Photoshop, but we can figure that out. But they do some amazing things.
I don't know if I have anything.
Well, you've got a couple of them that are in your albums, your creative album.
Let me see if I can find that real
The
quick.
ones I was thinking of, I couldn't find. But along that line, we could be thinking about, do we want to interject techniques to do a particular type of thing? Like Lou talked about the high key with a light panel or some other light source. Do you want to go into a variety of those kind of things over the next year?
Well, the answer is yes to everything.
Well, as good as you guys are getting, I can't compete with you. So
There's some. Yeah, there's quite a few of these, I think, on.
yeah, you didn't put them in your very many on your Flickr site, but I know you have some great ones.
And those are actions that you can buy on the internet, to do just about anything you want.
Yeah, show them an example if you got them handy.
I don't. I haven't used them in such a long time that I'd be struggling to, here's another one. It's more of a hand sketch type of a.
Yeah, well, just pop it on the screen and let us look at it. There's also actions that will replicate watercolors and kind of give you splatters and different backgrounds, and it gives you a whole bunch of layers, and then you can modify creatively from there.
Yeah, that would be easy to do. I'll find out about the website where they have all these, and we can take a look at those individually.
Well, just pop up your Flickr site and go to your albums. There's a couple of them.
That's what this is, Bob.
Is it?
Yeah, that's all I've got on the.
There's about 2 of them I found.
Yeah, that's.
Give an idea what we're talking about.
So. I mean, yeah, if you see something in here that, you say, wow, how do you do something like that?
We're looking at you.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
You haven't shared your screen.
Oh, let's say something.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering what you were.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
This is one technique that is, I forget what you call this album. But
Trees V3.
But the trees and stuff, yeah. See the train engine?
oh, yeah.
that's a technique where you end up with these actions.
Oh, the
You
paint
kinda
splatter.
set how much gets color and how much is overlay for splatters and things. I think you got one or two towards the bottom too. Yeah, like the cars and the camera.
Oh,
Wow.
I think this one is called the Da Vinci style. But a similar one with the sketch.
Yeah, Architectum and yeah, there's another one out of the buildings. You kind of determine how much is color and how much is line drawing, and then what you put in for overlays. There's a boat.
oh, that's beautiful. That would work with my swans.
So anyway, that's a technique that we could, as an example. Another one, just show them this car I thought was gorgeous.
Wow. Yeah, it would be fun to learn how to do some of this.
And there's the watercolor version as well. This one's kind of an architectural version, but
Keith, I think you had one like that with the train, with the watercolor splatters, I think.
Some of these actions are pretty complicated. Tom and I played with these for a long time, and he actually went in and counted how many steps there were in the action, and it's like 1,800 steps that the action goes through to create some of these images. So it's remarkable what goes through, and then once you get it done, you have about 20 different layers that you can go back into and individually adjust to make these things look the way you want them to look.
a lot of architectural or a lot of creative license can be done with these, whether it's the watercolor kind or the architectural kind. Well, and look at your Civil War guy there.
Yeah.
Well, so there's another technique that you can do to portraiture with. Now, is that the watercolor one?
This is part watercolor, part hand painting, and you know, this took hours and hours to do because a lot of it was hand painted. But yeah, I did use some other tools to get it to work.
But again, that's an action that will get you in the ballpark, and then you can create however much you want. So just thoughts. We can probably come up with a bunch more if that's the kind of thing you're interested in.
I just like looking at them even.
Me too.
I know.
Yeah, I'd love to learn some of this new stuff that Gary does. Wonderful.
You know, and then still lifes. I mean, that's a whole.
I was going to bring up still lifes.
Here's some still lifes where I've used those techniques.
Is still life one of our assignments? A still life?
It seems like one of them towards the end of the year.
I'll have to go look at that again. Yeah.
Gary's a master at still lifes.
There's a guy who I really try to spend a lot of time studying. He's a painter. His name is Christopher Stott, and he does still lifes very much like this. I mean, I try to copy his style. I've sent him emails and thanked him, and he's a very nice guy, easy to work with, but he does the paintings like this, and just beautiful stuff. Let's see.
Do you have studio lighting to do these, or?
Yeah, not expensive stuff though. It's
Oh,
Really simple.
Bob.
It's simple from a lighting standpoint. Let me get that.
you know, here.
Gary owns all of these props.
Simple for me.
He collects
Yeah.
them.
I mean, these are the kind of things that these are paintings. These are not.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's serious work.
Wow.
They're paintings that look like photographs, and Gary's
do.
trying to
Yeah.
do photographs
I
that look
try to
like
make
paintings.
photographs look like paintings. So he.
Yeah, everybody wants to do what they're not doing. See?
This reminds me of Lenore's kind of style.
And this is his studio. Some of the pictures I was able to see that he sent me of his studio are just remarkable. I mean, he's got shelves and shelves and shelves of all these things, the typewriters, the clocks. It's just an amazing.
Right to your right, Gary, right to your right on the picture is his studio.
Yeah, this one here, that's his studio. And that's not him. Anyhow, yeah, I mean, we can go any direction you like, and I'm more than happy to share how I've gone after some of this. And so up to you guys.
I'm really impressed with just how you guys are morphing some of these techniques and making them your own.
Well, that's the idea, creating your own style. And it seems like all of you are well on your way to doing that. And I'm very impressed.
Thanks to you, Gary.
So do we want to keep the format, maybe not at the holiday time period, but a couple of meetings a month?
Starting in January, you mean? Skip.
Well, we might be able to pull off one meeting in December, early December, and then probably nothing after that. So maybe, and I'm thinking, and you tell me, but I'm thinking the day before the club meeting, the first and the fourth week of the year, or second and fourth Thursdays, and the ours be the second and fourth Wednesdays. Would that make it easier for planning?
It'd be fine for me.
Twice a month might be a little bit hard for me, but whatever the group decides, I'm good.
Let's go for once a month for a while and just see if we can tackle something.
Okay.
Once a month is enough.
Once enough, okay. So
And it
you
could
want to,
be on the, it could be on the Thursday of the second meeting if we want, or make it Wednesday of the fourth Wednesday.
Yeah. Maybe next month, just make it the third Wednesday of the month.
That sounds good.
okay, so the third Wednesday next month. All right, and be thinking of new things that you want to get into, because I think there's a bottomless pit of techniques and tools, and by the time we figure them out, they'll have changed. Okay,
Okay.
I'll try and get the recording posted sometime.
So next month, is it going to be more just whatever we're working on, or?
Yeah.
To be honest, I thoroughly enjoyed what you guys were showing tonight.
Yeah, this was kind of fun because it's so open. You get to see a lot of different things. So.
Yeah, you get to see what everybody kind of likes too, you know, what their style is becoming. I
Yeah,
like
'cause-
that. Yeah.
Yeah, keep working on your style. I think you're really doing well developing it. So just keep going in that direction. And, there's a good chance to show it off and get some feedback as to what you're doing.
Yeah, the dynamic of this group is something very different than what you get at the club normally.
Mhm.
Yes.
Well, it's easier. It's a smaller group too, so it's a little bit
Yeah.
easier to.
Well, and you guys are serious. That's a big part of it.
Well,
Okay.
I also appreciate all the tips and all the feedback too, because you help us grow to be better photographers. So appreciate it.
Okay.
See you guys next time.
See you on the third Wednesday of December. Whatever.
Happy
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
However it ends
Thank
up.
you.
Yeah,
So-
stay
Oh,
safe.
Nice Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
One last question. So are we gonna just do kind of like we did this meeting? Is
Yeah.
everybody come up and show something what they're working on and that?
Yeah, and feel free to have a new style if you want.
Oh, I have a new style every other week.
Okay.
Oh, anyway, okay, see ya.
Stay
All right,
safe.
good.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.